Hello, hello. Mic check for the live stream. Hello to YouTube and Twitch. I hope everybody can hear me well. I hope you're all having a good day. So we're soon going to be setting up everything. So this is the Torpor Games Townhall and Q&A session for Q3 2025. We're going to be taking questions and stuff from chat, but also we sent out a form, so we received a lot of questions there. So we'll also, of course, address as many as we can. The event will be hosted on Discord, which will be streamed. We're going to be turning on the pictures soon. The event starts in about 10 minutes. Hello everybody. Okay, so we're now kicking into gear. I'll start setting up our Discord. Thanks for waiting. Hope you're all having a good day. Okay, now we should be speaking to all. Hello everybody. I'll also open our camera for the office. Hello. Greetings to all. Everything I hope is okay. Mic check. We're tuning in from Berlin. Great to see everybody. All right, so let's slowly start setting up the stage. Nick, would you like to join me up here? Let's also see if we can make this camera a bit bigger. All right, I'll add you. So we'll get our mod up on stage. Can you send a request, Baron? There we go.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
I'll also just like kind of bring down the music a bit so it doesn't overpower our chats. All right, there we go. Hey, how are you doing, Nick? Ready for the town hall and the Q&A?
Yeah, of course, Hata. All good.
Awesome.
We have a lot of questions today.
There's always a lot of questions. I mean, it's also that time of the year. A lot is happening. We're like spooling up again, so it's really exciting to maybe try to get those answers as much as we can share. So yeah. I think we can officially kick it off. Welcome everybody to the Torpor Town Hall and Q&A for Q3 2025. We have launched 3.1 now nearly 2 to 3 months ago. It was May, and polished it with some patches all the way until June. We've been very busy working on the Nintendo Switch version of Suzerain's latest updates, plus the Kingdom of Rizia DLC, and work is continuing there. You probably saw the dev blog posts about that as well, and there's some more other things that are cooking and happening in the background, but we're really excited about like the next steps. Yeah, so here we are. This is our chat. This is the time to answer those questions that we're sending to the forum, as well as like see if we can have some time to pick up audience questions from YouTube, where we're live at right now, Twitch, where we're also live, and of course Discord chat, which is always a wild, fun place. Would you like to?
Would you like me to feed you some of the questions from the forums, or do we invite somebody to start a conversation now?
We can start with some questions from the forums, maybe like the most recurring questions, and then so a few things like some questions will be difficult to answer, but you can still send them my way. but obviously very clear stuff. Like, for example, generally, we do big announcements in a separate way. We don't do them during town halls. So we wouldn't be able to answer stuff like when is this or that coming. This is more about like more nuanced questions and kind of like answering what we can. That is not an announcement declaration. Announcement declarations are separate posts or separate campaigns that, you know, we create and work on. So yeah, those we can maybe leave out, but we can also, of course, answer as much as we can. So you can throw some stuff and let's kick it off.
Okay, so apart from the very big question of what the next DLC will be, which, as you explained, is something we cannot quite frankly say right now, a lot of people are asking about the general roadmap and development of the Conformist.
Yeah, so the Conformist is quite quite the project. I guess we can tackle that to a degree. So I have to be upfront. Conformist is the most challenging thing we are trying to do because it's a much more larger and much more complicated project than Suzerain. So we are actually pushing in many different areas. Like this could be like, you know, 3D, game design, also narratively. There's a lot of like steps we're taking. I would say there has been challenges and a lot of challenges during the development of the Conformist. And one of the key problems that we're facing is we just simply don't have enough resources to commit to a full development cycle. So we always try to work on it whenever we can. And we've been working a lot on finding partners that could enable us to realize the game as it was envisioned, which we've shared some parts about that, but we haven't shared the full picture yet. So honestly, it's been challenging, you know, there's no doubt about it. We can't fully produce it like a normal game team that is, you know, funded and can move on. So it's been difficult. We made as much progress as we can with the resources we have, but we have currently paused the development of it because we lack the resources to make it happen. So we are talking to certain partners that could enable us to make it, but it has been very difficult. So that's the reality. And it's also something we have been sharing here and there a bit. The games industry is going through a lot of change. And the way games are being made and financed is also changing. So we as a company, we have to focus on like certain like, you know, things that drive what we create, what we love to do, of course, but also within our means, because we don't have some of the resources that some other companies do. So it is not like cool or great news that I can like share about it. I just gotta be honest. But that doesn't mean the project is going anywhere. We've made strong strides to make something that's really conceptually unique, that actually goes beyond what people expect from the game, goes a bit beyond Suzerain's style, also goes beyond what people expect from it to look like from other games. So I'm very happy with the direction and the progress we've made. But yeah, we will update you if there are some changes about the production of it. There will be news about it for sure. So we will share that with the community, because we are as excited as you are. We love this concept. For us, like this concept represents Torpor, you know, like leveling up and like becoming a games company, a game studio that can like bring these types of experiences to the larger world. And yeah, we were not giving up on that.
Yes, it's quite important to understand that there are very, very big challenges when it comes to developing games, and it's been a problem not just for us here in Torpor and Iwata, but other studios as well. So I hope we can figure that out. Now, if we can ask one more question related to the Conformist, but not the development itself. Now, will the Conformist connect to the events and characters of Suzerain in any ways, and will our choices in the Conformist influence the main game?
So about influence design, that's a bit too early to talk about. But one of the conformist goals is to open up the past of Swordland in a more tangible way. So we will meet certain characters, we will learn different things about them, it will shift some perspectives. So every time when we create something, we try to add different nuanced perspectives to the universe and the IP we've created. So the Conformist will, in its concept and its vision, really change how you experience Suzerain, the base game, but also like how you see Swordland. And as a game, what it's trying to do is also very different, because you are a propagandist who is like working for different groups who are trying to win the election. And I think that's going to be a completely different style because of the ground level aspect that it has. But for now, these are the things that we have about it, and we cannot comment on other things until development has advanced and we have locked those things down.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So apart from the DLC and the Conformist, there are a lot of questions regarding the noble houses of Rizia. Will we see any update in the future which will bring us more lore, maybe some family trees into the families?
So Rizia is probably going to have a few more polish updates, similar to what we do with Suzerain. Like every time we update Suzerain itself as a game, we try to fix bugs, we try to address small polish. But essentially, the studio is like right now working on 3 different things that are not announced yet, and our focus is going there, and we have to actually heavily focus on these things to make it right. So one will be talked about pretty soon, I would say like within the next month or 2. The other 2, you'll see as it goes, but we're really excited about those 2 other projects as well. So we will update the game as soon as we can, but we have to focus on making the cool things that we want to make, and then we will try to update the game with them. So it's going to be exciting, and it's quite of a change of pace and things for us as well. So we're happy to dive into those very soon.
That makes a lot of sense. So I cannot wait for the news that you promised in a month or 2.
Yeah.
Very excited. Now, this is a question from a mobile player for sure. Will the Conformist be released on mobile? And if so, will it be simultaneous with PC?
So no commitments on that, because one of the big challenges of that game is that it is 3D and it is set in a city that is visualized. Not all of the city, obviously, because that's like not what we're intended to go for, but it's very heavy experience. And to simplify that, I mean, there are 3D games on mobile right now these days that are well optimized, and there are FPS games on mobile too. There are probably ways, but it's always about like the cost of making something like that and the sacrifices you make to the experience and stuff like that. So for us, it's something we can't comment on yet. We definitely see it. We want to make it as much as cross-platform as possible, because one of the things we noticed is like having the audience in different segments actually doesn't help community unity. It was really great when like parity was reached between PC and mobile, and hopefully with the advancements on Switch we can achieve that as well. We want the entire player base to be at the same content level, because everything that is different causes extra challenges production wise.
Yeah, I totally get that. Now this is easier, but will Torpor Games ever release a full world map for the Suzerain verse?
For the full map, we haven't committed to anything yet, because map production for us is like a lot of work, and it takes a lot of effort elsewhere whenever we do map production. But we have ideas about like the full world map, and we know how it is. So one day there will be some updates, but for now we're focused on actually expanding what we've shown on the world map and making it more detailed and making it more nuanced, and improving the lore rather than adding a lot more that we can't develop, because seeing the entire thing is important and it gives a visual reference, but it's more about like the content of what we're showing, and we still have so much content to explore with what we've shown. So that's how we think about it.
Yeah, that's great. I personally one of the map addicts out there, so I really want to see a map in the future whenever you can make it, guys. So I think somebody wants to ask a question. Do you think we're ready to receive someone from the audience?
Yeah, that sounds great. Of course.
Okay, let me send the invite. General C, if you can hear us. Oh, here he is.
Hello, hello. I think
Hello.
they're muted.
Oh, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, welcome.
Okay, yeah. So I can ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so earlier you were talking about how you're seeing the Rizia Conformist and everything else kind of leveling up of the studio, and I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see that as it happens, but the main question I had was, do you think, do you guys have any long-term plans to move out of the Suzerain verse? Do you guys think you're going to kind of stay in this universe for the long term?
Yeah, long term, we want to stay in the universe, so our goal is always basically go deeper. And our entire plan and capacity is pushing towards making the countries deeper, making the ideologies deeper, changing perspectives on characters, changing perspectives of events. We just want to build and build and build, like, as much as we can. So you have like this strong combination of depth and width within a certain like framework. It is not easy, it takes time to make these games and it takes time to make these experiences, but we believe that every time we kept going on, everything else just got better. Like Suzerain, when it initially released, and I was also thinking about it, maybe like dropping like the initial builds to like show people how much the game changed. Like it went from this very different, like tight and like smaller experience to what it is today. And this is the approach that has worked so far, and it actually made it a universe, was this continuous iterative development and expansion. So we're sticking to that.
I only started going about time Rizia released, and even since then I've seen both games develop so much, and like if we continue like this, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the goal. We just want to do more with the IP, and even like branch out of digital as well, with like maybe some smaller physical stuff. Those are all in the ideas.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is External. I think that's how you pronounce the name. Invitation sent.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
I've got two questions. First of all, has there been any thought or progress on Suzerain becoming more accessible to modders in the future? And my second question is a trend from Swordland to Rizia, and I'm assuming beyond, is more and more autonomy for the player. I was wondering if in any future development or DLC you'd consider the use of AI to give the player as much autonomy as possible when running their country.
For the first question, I think can you repeat the first question again? Because my mind went.
First question is: has there been any active motion towards making Suzerain more accessible for modders?
Yes. So modding, the challenge with modding for us is and this has been the case for years, and this is something we've struggled with a lot actually, is that the database tool we use is hard to remodify and open up for a modding capacity. So I think the challenge always has been like, we cannot just stop developing the next thing to then develop a modding tool. It's just our production timelines are pretty tight. And even with that tightness, it takes months and months and months to develop content and get it out there and, have something really good that we can be happy about. So we never had like actually the break to be like, okay, like now we're gonna do modding. And that's primarily because of like the tech limitation we had, the challenges we had there. Now it's definitely something that we really would love to do, because there's a lot of creativity in the community, and I come from a modding background. I've started in the games industry through modding. So I modded Paradox Interactive games, and that got me really excited and interested about the games industry. So I'm a big believer. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for modding. I also see what it does if it's implemented well to other games. One thing that we noticed though in the modding discussions is that our game has a lot of deep content, and I think a lot of people are maybe not fully understanding the intricacies of fully modding and creating Suzerain-esque experiences. So editing existing content is one part. That is a bit, more manageable, but actually creating content blocks of like, dialogues, complicated choices, formulas that, tick the machine of Suzerain and behind the background. These are really intricate works. And I think the community has all the capacities to achieve them and make them happen. There's like definitely, I trust in all the skills. And I would say the collective skills of the community in output would be way more than the dev team. That's generally usually the case with modding. But the issue is more like, how do we actually create these tools? When can we spend resources on doing this? And when wouldn't that be a hindrance to actually releasing content? So yeah, that's definitely something that's been quite challenging. So we want it. I hope one day we can get it, and then we'll see a lot more cool stuff coming out of the community. Second point about it was about creation as well, like user-generated content, right?
It was the usage of AI in a game like this, because I personally believe that Suzerain is quite a well-geared game towards AI. I understand there's a big community aversion towards AI, but this seems specifically suited for it.
Yeah, so this is like, it's a very detailed topic these days, because AI usage is increasing across the world, and a lot of users are engaging with that. The issue, there are many topics related to AI, and I think the primary thing is like about enabling people, and actually creating all this content is a lot of work, and that part needs to stay, and it's the creator's job to maintain that. But it's more like if it was like in a modding context, for example, it would be cool for somebody maybe who is not like native English speaker to use AI in their modding creation to be able to just improve stuff, or like improve their like grammar or typos, stuff like that. Like it could assist like user-generated content creators. One of the key things is though, and this is something like I think that's like a larger debate about creation, is like the creator needs to be empowered, and they need to put their soul into the work. Now, how their soul and creativity, and this is for any creator, anything. You could be making music, you could be making a film, it could be painting, it could be a poem, anything. It's all about, we're looking for connections, right? Like we're looking for human-to-human connection. We want to connect on topics. This transfer of creation to output, and in between is technology. Technology is supposed to help this happen, and I think that's the key thing that's important. And as long as it kind of achieves those goals, where people's soul can touch other people's the creative work touches other people's souls, and that process is not disrupted but assisted or supported, then I think there could be a lot of power in modding and stuff like that. So yeah, there is, I think, maybe things that other communities do. We don't know too much, honestly, because we haven't gotten to the user-generated content parts yet, as we've discussed. But for us, it's all about, we want to talk about these subjects as Torpor games. That's why we make political games. That's why we make intricate decisions, morally questionable things, because we want everybody to debate around these things. We want everybody to have different thoughts. And we're not giving answers. Our goal is to open a space for exploration. And if technology helps people do this for themselves or for other creators better, then, we would like to see that. So it's kind of interesting in that way. But yeah, long story short, we would love technology to assist people to create. And as long as the personal human stuff gets out there in quality, that would be great.
Yeah. If you forgive me, I've one more question. I apologize for taking up so much time.
Yeah, no worries.
But have you ever considered in the future adding some aspects of multiplayer into the game?
So multiplayer. So one of the challenges of multiplayer with a game like this is it would distract from like the stories we're trying to tell. So multiplayer would work a bit better if it was a bit more of a ludic experience. So it's kind of like, a bit more gamified. Something that is maybe political and a bit more gamified, or like something that's more logical, would be a better space for a multiplayer experience to work in. For a realistic country sim where you actually talk to people and like sign bills or pass decrees and all this stuff, for that to be a versus experience, I think it's very difficult conceptually. It needs to be another concept, and we haven't really gone there. And the other thing I have to say, and this is just to share like the game development perspective as a studio, making multiplayer games is really complicated. You need specific talents, you need netcode engineers, you need people who have understanding of server database structures, you need really good, network package systems, and otherwise you have lag or packet loss, or there's all these things. The game's architecture needs to be interwoven with a multiplayer system. So all these things are everything we're doing, and then like multiply the complexity. So it's also not feasible from that aspect.
Well, thank you all for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the good
questions.
questions. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, before I proceed to invite someone else to the stage, we have a few questions from the Discord chat. So, number one I think is worth asking is, Atta, do we expect Swordland to get an update like 3.1 for Rizia? Or are we going to focus more on the next DLC and the Conformist?
So, our goal is to do updates for the base game and Rizia, as I said, but the scale of the updates will be a bit smaller until we have reached the next exciting, bit more of a meaty drop. So we're trying to rotate, basically. We're because we want each experience to get better, more polished, and there are still things that we wanted to add to Swordland, for example, that are like just waiting for us to add it. But we cannot do it right now. So we have to prioritize, basically, and there's like a rotation. So I personally already have multiple storyline ideas and updates and improvements, some of which have been circulating in the community after I mentioned it in previous broadcasts as well. I know other people also have like ways of connective content. One thing I can tease a little bit is that before we launch a larger country DLC again, we will add relevant stuff to Suzerain, and if it's applicable, universe connectivity wise, to Rizia as well. But they won't be massive things, but they will be still not small. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this answers the question pretty much. Another one is do we plan to make the Rizia war game standalone title, or are we going to see this applied in the future in other instances?
So, I mean, we saw that some people really enjoyed the war mechanic, so that has caused some discussions on this topic. But it is a completely different challenge to make a standalone game. So for now, we cannot talk about that because it's just not our focus at the moment.
Oh, we have a follow-up from the same user. He meant that releasing it as a tool for modding as well. So I imagine this being a community mod to make a Swordland War scenario based on the Rizia mechanic.
So it goes into the tech limitations. The war mechanic built into Rizia was specifically designed within the structure of Rizia. So it cannot be easily implemented into another structure. So it's not a sandbox system. We basically built as a one-shot, which only works in those parameters. And it is a bit unfortunate, but also, and this is another thing we've talked on a lot about, the VOR system in Suzerain base game was added last minute because there was like a lot of demand and interest on it, and we kind of expanded it slightly, but we left it as is. Because conceptually it does not fit into like the initial concept idea of Suzerain, where everything's supposed to end like at the end around 58. And that's why actually there's already this weird bug, which it's also something that I want to edit as well, is that the Rumburg War happens way too quick, but it's actually not designed to be that quick, stuff like that. But these are all concepts and ideas. We haven't committed to them yet, and we will see if we can get to make those touch-ups and more nicer edits. The war mechanic is not going in there because it would completely destroy what exists, which works mostly on its own, and that would be a completely different thing.
I think this pretty much sums up that question. While we were discussing the difficulties in game development, I saw a lot of people saying in the chat that we should get some GoFundMe or Patreon set up so people can support the studio outside of just buying the games and everything to help with development. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean that's very kind, and it's amazing that we always had such a supportive community that is always part of the journey, gives us great feedback, and especially the constructive feedback posts are very appreciated. And of course, like this also, like the wanting to donate and help. So definitely there is power in masses for sure. For a studio like us, it's like really important to have a strong connection to community because there are a lot of challenges, and we can definitely think about how we can have something like that, but it goes into a more intricate discussion because there's another thing of like Patreon style and its work, etc., and how we can collaborate, as well as like donations and GoFundMes or campaigns. So if we are looking at a serious campaign, that's definitely going to be communicated, like a certain like a crowdsourcing campaign, could be Kickstarter, could be GoFundMe. And the other thing, and this is something we've noticed, and we've always been very transparent about these topics, is like we've noticed how the expectation of budgets of games are pretty low in generally like the online spheres and discussions. The Conformist is a project, I won't say like exactly around what like exact number it is, but I'll just give you a number that it is above at, and it is above $1 million in cost. So, and that's like, I'm not saying it's close to the number, I'm just saying it is above that. So it is quite a bit of a challenge. I'm not saying it cannot be done with a crowdsourcing. It would be amazing if we can show the world, and then that could be gaining further interest, and that could mean maybe open doors. But just giving you context about the situation. So
Yeah, I agree entirely. It requires a lot of effort and a lot of money, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, let's invite the next member to the stage.
And also, if you want to support us, one of the best ways you can do is you can get the support the devs item, and if you haven't purchased our DLC, you can grab the DLC, because the DLC also shows that we're not a single release studio, that we're building more things, and it's always a great signal for people looking to partner up with us to make better and bigger things. So and yeah, we see great conversion rates for Rizia, so we're very happy. But yeah, if you haven't, you can get the Woolpitzer or grab the DLC. Welcome on stage.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
I just have one simple question and one in-depth question. The first question is, will you plan to release the game to other consoles like Xbox or PlayStation in the future?
So like we're going with Switch for now, and then we'll see what the development situation is like. Like we're definitely open. Like it's more like we got to see how Switch concludes. There's a lot of work happening there now and preparing that. But let's get our 2021 Switch users to the level of content of 2025. That's the primary goal. They have been they have been waiting.
And the other question is, with the DLC, Rizia, sorry, I'm butchering it.
No worries.
The war mechanic with the war mechanic of the country. Are you planning to introduce that to other countries or to Sorlin, especially with in the end game? Because that mechanic you guys added to DLC is a really nice mechanic, and I will, I'm pretty sure some people or majority of the fan base will love that in the future with other countries.
Yeah, I think this is something I actually answered a bit earlier. We built that mechanic custom for Rizia, but we are acknowledging that there's a lot of interest around it for more like strategist ludic players. So it's definitely like we had some thoughts about that. So we won't be able to like add it back to the base game or something for now. But we see that players enjoy playing the war mechanic on its own, which is something that we didn't really expect. We thought it would just work within like the structure only. So it's definitely sparked something. I can say that, seeing positive feedback on that. And also we've read, people who rather not engage with as deep of a mechanic as that one was. That's why we gave the ability to let your generals control it and just like boost your military industrial complex to make sure they can win. So we want to cater to, the best experience for different segments of Suzerain players for sure. But yeah, sadly, for now, no further war editions. But we're thinking that the reception has been too good. So.
All right, those are my only two questions. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is a question I have received a few times in the chat. Is there any storyline cut content in the Suzerain base game that was created, but then upon review we decided not to put it in there?
Yeah, I mean there is one, but it's just like a miscellaneous scene. And if I ever get the extra time, it's been very busy here at Torpor. We do a lot of stuff, but if I get the time, I would love to add it back someday. It's like a barber scene where Anton gets a haircut as an anonymous president. So like he kind of like hides in stealth and goes into this barber shop to get a haircut, not from the palace but with the people. And the idea was that you would hear what everybody thinks about you and stuff like that, because I mean, people like, it's a more like desolate place, so it's not in the heart of politics. That was the idea. So not everybody like recognizes you, and it's like at a weird hour. So the goal was to then get recognized in the scene. But yeah, it's just an idea that was let out because we couldn't put the quality and effort into it, and the effort had to go into more major plot lines. And it's inspired by a historical case of like leaders disguising and entering like among the people to hear what people truly think like, except of the yes men around them. So what the real thing is. And then there was some more like a fishing scene idea with Josef, where you go fishing together. That was another idea that was scrapped. there's different stuff. So yeah, not everything makes it. There's deadlines, there's priorities. We did get to add the chess scene that was cut eventually. So with Lucian, that I'm happy about. So yeah, there's some stuff, and Rizia too. There's a few, but that's all I can tell.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, especially the haircut one. Okay, let's proceed with another question from our dear audience.
Sure.
I have sent an invite.
So,
Hello.
hey fellas, Hello. I was a bit shaken, but then I noticed a fellow countryman was here, so I dozed off. I have a
Hello.
question. Yeah, you know, pal. So, I was wondering, do you consider do you consider the possibility of multiplayer to be a negative in the game? I mean, if they change the whole impact of the Cold War, would that be a negative?
So you mean like they would change like the universe lore, like where the standing is, and that would like upset
I
stuff.
think if they drastically change the alignment, like I don't know, garbage
Yeah.
of Volksland or whatever.
So
You get me? That's
yeah, I mean the issue is like conceptual, as you said. It touches up on the lore and whatever. Like a multiplayer concept, I think really needs to be localized enough and with a lot of agency for it to work. So there needs to be gameplay systems and there needs to be agency for an interaction between different players in a way like, for example, a societal interaction. So the current version is not ready for multiplayer for sure. So I wouldn't. I would say it would create problems, and structurally it also is difficult for this game design. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, if you had like 5 KGB psychopaths, I mean, that could drastically change the game, which is very negative. Second of all, the presence of Galmland or whatever the hell that is, but they're probably butchering it. Is that considered by the team?
The presence
Of Galmland. I don't know what the hell's that. I've seen it in posts though.
Of a Galmland DLC, you mean?
Yes, the Galmland. Thank you.
Currently we haven't announced which country will be the next DLC. So there's a lot of community hype.
Yeah, I get that. So that was my only 2 questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the
question.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Δάτο στέλιο και σε έχεις κακό χαμό.
Ευχαριστούμε.
Έλα τα λέμε.
Take care.
Okay, let's move on to the next. We have a few people waiting. Hello.
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 Hi. I'm sorry about my English. I'm a bit rusty, no pun intended, and I don't know. I'm just nervous, but
No
I'll
problem.
try. I have 3 questions.
Yeah.
Let's do this. First question about I'm a Brazilian guy, and I would really like to see this game in my language. So I saw that Suzerain was translated to Chinese, I think, and I would really like to see this game in my language. I would like to participate if possible, and I would like to know if there is any project about Portuguese language being added in the game.
Yeah, so Chinese hasn't been translated yet. The community project is still ongoing. So it's not implemented. We haven't even gotten to play it. It's very work in progress. So language-wise, localization-wise, we are figuring out how localization pipelines will work. So the challenge is like kind of like this. There are existing community-made localizations, and these just override the existing game database and files. This system doesn't work as in it would in normal games. So other games, for example, have language settings and options, and you could just switch basically between languages that have been made. Our game, we don't have all of this. Like there is no structure basically how language databases are implemented into the game. So what we're actually doing, and because we have limited resources as well, is we want to do one trial project where we learn how to add a language, how to turn it on and off, do hot swapping and stuff like that, and then take that pipeline and then work with community teams into implementing the other languages. And a couple of challenges here that we face. Suzerain has a lot of words. So in total, we surpassed, I think, 1.4 million words. And that is like 3 to 4 Lord of the Rings novels, right? So you're talking about like an incredible amount of work and language work that takes months and months and months. It is possible, and some teams have used AI to get translations done, but a lot of game projects usually have less than 100,000 words. Like most have less than 50,000 words actually. So we are in like, I think in the top, like as a single game, we are in the top 10 most word count game in like, like we're close, we're a bit below Baldur's Gate 3, we're a bit above Disco Elysium. There's a few other games. So like we're at the very like heavy text spot. That's because of the content depth. So it takes a lot of time to make the localizations, and it takes a lot of technical effort, etc., from the team, which is already working always on the next thing. So that's why Chinese is first, because it's like a large market, and we we're working with this volunteer team from inside and outside of China. It's like a large team, more than 25 people who have contributed to this project over 1.5 to 2 years now, nearly. And made progress, but it's still not there yet. So there's like a bit more work to be done. So once that is done, we will then create the pipeline, and then we will reach out to all the teams who have already done a lot of work to see how we can integrate their work into the game, and of course talk with them and everything. And of course every language will have localization QA, so the language will be play tested. And it has to, we're okay with releasing base game translations and localizations and then doing Rizia a bit later. So it's fine if a language does Suzerain and hasn't done Rizia. We are also looking at how to handle that, because it's so much work that it takes, tens of people, like nearly a year plus time. We know that it's hard to, have everything localized. So yeah, that's that. About Brazilian, Portuguese, I think definitely it's a very important language. It would be great, but because of our limited resources, we never were able to afford localization payments for companies to do this work for us. And because of the high costs of the localization size, it basically meant that instead of making Suzerain, we would just do a localization. Instead of making Rizia, we would just do languages. And that is a massive trade-off, right? We wouldn't make games anymore. We would just do localization, basically, is the problem. So that's transparently explained with everything. I want Suzerain to spread to as many languages as possible, because we have a very complicated message to send to the world with the game, and we're persisting on this message to spread of how people experience what we've created and think about the world. And yeah, that's our goal.
Okay, very well, thank you. The second question, it's about I don't know how to explain it, but I'll try. Basically, I see that Rizia gives more freedom to the player. We have much routes to receive.
Yeah.
We can really make Rizia world power. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but it's really, we really have freedom to change the country as you like. And I feel that in Swordland we have less options. which that's not meant. I'm how can I explain that? It's not less. I'm not less enthusiastic. It's a lot more in depth. I feel in Swordland that it is in Rizia, but I feel that Swordland has less options, and I would love to see more options to Swordland and more routes to how to change the country. And I would like to ask if you're thinking about
Yeah, it's a very good observation. So, I mean, it goes into theory of game design. So, and a few other factors, of course. Like, Rizia is a much complicated game because, I mean, it's a DLC, but it's kind of like a game because of so many underlying systems. And, we built these systems because we got feedback from the Swordland experience that there was a large player base who wanted more autonomy, who wanted more control, etc. So the strength of the Swordland experience is it has that limitation, and that's what makes it special. Because you're like navigating those limitations, it feels different. Like it feels more like challenging in a different way, right? And this is unique to the way we made Suzerain, and I think it's like a statement as well, like of like how the game design and like the narrative design is. And we that's why flipped the position of power thematically as well with Rizia to say, hey, now you have all the power and now you have a trillion options, right? Like here are all your options. But the consequence of having a lot of options is that you're more lost and like everything depends on you and you're this super powerful monarch and your word is like, your will is the word and the kingdom has to execute your will. So that kind of creates this experience of like, because you can do so much and there's a lot of changing factors, there is less of like this very well tailored political challenge experience, because there is actually like, there are political challenges, of course, but the way you deal with them is very different. So it's a trade-off, different experiences, different design choices, and also for our company to explore what we can do like under the same concept in different ways. So a few learnings from that is definitely we see that a lot of players, like a lot of the player base does like having more autonomy. But now that they've had that, what we've noticed with the latest survey that we've sent out to everyone, I hope everybody also filled it out, like we see that more people want to have another experience where they're being challenged in a more like limited way actually. So we're trying to look at like how to deal with that. So some of the questions we asked was like, how much do you want the mechanics to be as in depth versus the story, etc. So now we've kind of created a profile, and the next one of the things that we're working on is actually respecting the situation that occurred with like you had Swordland, you had Rizia. The next thing in that lineup of DLCs and country experiences will be unique compared to both. And it will do something that both has, but also do something that both doesn't. So the third experience in that line of like country experiences will take learnings from both products. And I think that's super exciting for us because Rizia pushed the company hard. We actually went beyond our comfort zone. And I think this is really important for growth. Like if we always do similar things, we can't grow as a company. And as creatives as well, it's nice to have like the challenge, the push, and then get the feedback from the community, iterate and improve. But yeah, long story short, exactly, your observation is correct. And you cannot have exactly both mashed up, but there are some things you can have from both, and there are things that both don't have that we think will be really cool as a concept.
Very well, thank you. I guess being a president in a country in recession really limit your options. So yeah. The third is, I know you probably receive a lot of questions like this about the DLC, but I will ask. I'll make a request. Can you give us a hint or something you can tell us about the next DLC, just to generate more hype for us, because we are really anxious to go through it. and I'm really very anxious about it too. So
I think so. I mean, one thing I can say is that it will surprise a lot of people. And we see the different camps in the community, and I'm really looking forward to what will happen once we do make the move to talk about it. The countries that people are interested about are really interesting geographic areas. So one of the things we're seeing is that people do want to be at a place that's geographically challenging in between things. But yeah, we will see when the campaign of it starts. Usually, and this is like how we operate, usually at least, we have a campaign towards announcement, and we do drop certain hints, certain things, not committing that it will happen the same way, but this is generally how we've done it. So be part of that process if you see it happening, and I hope you like what we come up with. Either way, there's a lot of stuff coming, so yeah, that's all I can say.
very well, thank you.
All right, thanks for
Thank
the
you very
questions.
much. Thanks for the question. Okay. Hata, how are we on time? We have a lot of people who still want to ask many questions, I'm sure.
I think we can do like another 2-3 questions, and then we can wrap it up as it's getting late here as well.
Okay, perfect. Let me invite the next one.
Hello.
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 May I ask my question now?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Just 2 questions, really. First one is, do you ever intend to explore the concept of colonialism in the setting, or have thought about it?
Definitely. So we have some interesting things about that, actually, that is very different from our real world. The continental connections between areas are way more different than the history that has unfolded in our world. So there's definitely hints to some type of colonial structures in both universe codex entries and on the map. So you'll definitely see us mention those topics a bit more, because the Valgos Empire and also Lesbia and even Agnolia to a degree all have a past related to this. So there's definitely content about that we want to expand on.
Okay, second question. Do you ever intend to explore the more niche political systems, ones that never really went mainstream or were just hypothetical?
That would be really cool. So it's
Like, there were some that actually gained literary note,
yeah,
but never went mainstream due to... Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, definitely there are some that are super interesting to talk about. The issue is like it has to fit the concept. It's really hard to introduce very niche things to like a concept that is like a more a country that is in a way depicting the more average normal political content. So we kind of did hint that there are cantons in Contana, and that that hints to a different type of structure. We did hint at confederacies, which is also kind of different in a different way. There are some things that we want to talk about. Like the Free Cities is also like a really different place. But yeah, we want to, like, that's all I can say. Like, we want to go detailed. So yeah, it's not always going to be like the norm, but there is a lot to do still on the middle band of ideologies in our universe that we still have to open up. So we want to go from like that and expand and then get to the niches.
Fair enough. Last one before I go. Have you thought about ever doing a thing where you could create your own ideology, for lack of a better term?
The thing with that is like it's an interesting thing to think about. The problem of
I mean, like a series of options, but like you can still make it unique flavor-wise, at least.
Yeah, the challenge with fully customizing ideology is feedback. So once a player, like, let's assume they would do that, you would need to have that respected within the game to quite a strong degree to make it really feel like you've done something. So the more customizable something is, you lose a bit of the depth of the topic. So there's like a very intricate balance between like how deep do you want the freedom to be versus how deep do you want the quality to be, and like that ebb and flow. It would be a nice concept, but we haven't have any plans on that yet.
Fair enough. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for your question. On to the next one. We have an audience member who has asked a question in the last town hall as well. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
I have two lore-related questions to Rizia.
Okay.
First one, Rusty sued Valero after the loss of Zeal to get 15% of Rizian royal gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't the king control the judicial part of the power structure? Like, I know Valero was incompetent, but like, how did he lose a lawsuit against himself?
So the thing with Rusty is Rusty has strong connections to powerful countries. It's not just a battle between a citizen and the king. It's a bit larger than that. And Valero was really in a difficult spot. Valero, like, if that was the only thing, that would be great. Valero lost so much in that period, and actually Rizia's like strong Liza period completely crashed with Valero. That's why in the Rizia start, you see a lot of things like take a downturn. But I mean, you're the king, so you feel a bit less of it because it's a monarchy. It's a constitutional monarchy that has a strong authority on the center. But it's more about the foreign powers, not just Rusty and the king. So they didn't want to upset like Arcasia and Lesbia and all the ATO related stuff. You don't want to rock the boat when your country is splintering and the opposition is has really destroyed a lot. So yeah, it's a political move of not to do more.
All right, next question. Why are Rizians racist, Swordish? Like, what did Swordish people do for them to be discriminated so much?
So this is fun. This is pretty funny. The Swordish, so the upper middle class and rich swords do go south to Lesbia and like to the resorts there and like to Rizia. And Swordish people, like when they travel, and sometimes like this is also depicted in Rizia, it's like they like are a bit rude, like because of like how like the country is. Swordland is a very important country in Eastern Maricopa, and it has like the citizens have like a different thing. And of course we're talking about a very well-off group of people who can travel and do tourism in the time. So not all of them are super respectful, and Rizia is a monarchy for forever, so it has traditions, it has regality, it has customs and traditions, right? This has been mentioned a lot in Rizia. There are like ceremonies, there are like behaviors and stuff like that. And Swordland is relatively a freer country in that sense, where like citizens can they don't have to abide by as many things as Rizians do. So yeah, when they visit, they are acting a bit too free compared to the locals sometimes, and that's why Rizians might not like it so much when they get disturbed.
All right, thanks for having me a second time.
Of course, thanks for the great questions.
I think that means we have one more question, right?
All right. Is there anything from the forum that had been recurring that you've spotted, or?
Well, everyone is talking about the DLC. This is never going to stop. This is great, guys. We love you. Oh, there's been a question about the poem. I'm afraid I'm not up to speed on the poem thing. So can you please ask the question again? Victor of Smolak, can you please ask the question in the chat?
Okay.
Oh, and we also had a question from YouTube about what do we think about fan-made flags?
Oh yeah, I mean, so all types of fan-made art we love seeing. Like it's just amazing how like all these cool art keeps happening. It's very inspirational. From like the military uniform gear of different countries and the weapons to the maps, to the silhouettes, to the flags. I think it's amazing. Honestly, it's so awesome. Makes us very happy. That's all I can say. So feel free, create, and I think share, because yeah, like it's important.
Can you hear me? Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, I think.
So, can you see the chat about the poem question?
Could you read it, because it's a bit cut off on my end?
So, Victor of Smolak says, the poem appeared a year ago, and since the image has appeared and words were removed, I inspected the image and it was called corn.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think the so we have like different ways of dropping hints and questions and stuff like that. The poem is related to that, and it's also a way for people to fill the poem their own way. And yeah, we won't be able to tell more than that, but the theories around it are really cool to see, and there will be more stuff in the future on that. I can't say more, sadly. But trust us,
well, it's
we
always
want
good to keep the suspense.
Yeah, trust us, we want like if we could have it too, we would love to make stuff 100x faster. It's just sadly that's not how it works. Everything in due time. Please stick around, and yeah, let's make the universe bigger, better, and deeper.
I'm going to speak as a community member here and say that we need to trust Torpor to create absolute cinema.
Also, constructive feedback. We're very open. Please send in always how you feel, like about content, features, everything. We read a lot. Like I go through posts every day, so even though we can't action of everything every time, but please send in your thoughts in a way of how the game makes you feel, certain things make you feel, and how you think it could be better. And then we take all that knowledge and try to find a best way forward whenever we have time to do so. So the other thing is, there is one thing that we are announcing that is a bit more community and art related, actually. We have our banner competition, right, Nick?
Yes, we will be announcing that. Or did we send the announcement already? No, we did not. So we will send that very, very soon. We have a competition to create a banner. So you will find out more info on that shortly.
Yes, and so if anybody wants to get creative, that's a good one. And of course, there will be recognition and rewards on that. So yeah, stay tuned for the update tomorrow on that. Yeah, that I guess covers it all, right?
Covers most of it. We'll surely get asked the same question once or twice in the next one.
I think we'll have new questions as well next time. So I'm pretty sure we'll have.
Of course.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, everyone, thank you for joining. It was glad to hear from all of you. Stay on board for what's coming.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Have a nice rest of the time for your day. And yeah, Amor no escore. Glorious Rizia.
Next turn.
Take that.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care. Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.